Okay, so I don't know about you, but I'm still kind of riding the high from that insane match yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Gujarat Titans and Punjab Kings in the IPL.
That was something else.
That 244 run chase was just unbelievable.
Absolutely incredible.
It really got me thinking about innovation in sports,
Hmm.
which reminded me of a book Mark Zuckerberg recommended a while back, Peter Thiel's 0 to 1.
Oh, yeah, that's a great book.
Have you read that one?
I have. It's a fantastic read for anyone interested in entrepreneurship and really just thinking differently about how to build a business.
And I think what's really fascinating is how a high-stakes event like that IPL match can actually give us a unique perspective on some of these fundamental ideas about business and technology.
I totally agree. I think that's a really smart connection. You've got this incredibly popular and dynamic sports league, the IPL, and it's operating right at the cutting edge of technological advancements.
Exactly.
So exploring how a book that focuses on, foundational business innovation principles applies to the world of sports could yield some really interesting insights.
So that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this deep dive today.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Our mission is pretty simple. We're going to take the core arguments of 0 to 1, this idea of creating something entirely new, rather than just kind of iterating on what already exists,
Right, right.
and see how those principles play out in the fast-paced world of sports business and all the tech we see emerging in 2025.
Makes sense to me.
Okay, so let's start with the core of Thiel's argument in 0 to 1.
Okay.
He makes this distinction between going from 0 to 1, meaning creating something entirely new, and going from 1 to n,
Right.
which is basically just copying or incrementally improving on existing things.
Yeah.
So what stands out to you about that idea?
Well, what's really crucial for people to understand is Thiel's point that creating something truly novel gives you the potential to dominate a market. You capture significant value because you're not just fighting for a slice of something that already
It's
exists.
like you're building the whole pie.
Exactly.
Right.
You're creating the pie. You're not just trying to get a bigger
I
slice.
like that.
Think about it. If you invent the first smartphone, you're in a much stronger position than if you're just making another version of a phone that's already out there.
Right. Or if you're just another phone company trying to compete in a space that's already crowded.
Exactly.
And Thiel actually uses PayPal as a great example of this in the book.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't just set out to create another payment system. They invented an entirely new way for people to transfer money online.
Right.
And that's really the power of that 0 to 1 move.
Right.
It can lead to what he calls a monopoly.
And it's important to remember that he's not necessarily using the word monopoly in a negative way.
Right.
It's more about recognizing that when you create something truly unique, you have the potential to be the dominant player in that space, at least for a while.
Until someone else comes along and disrupts you with their own 0 to 1 innovation.
Exactly. And
Right.
that's the beauty of it. It drives progress because everyone's constantly striving to create the next big thing.
So how do you see that idea of the 0 to 1 move playing out in the world of the IPL?
Well, when you think about the IPL in the context of creating something truly new, the chapter in Thiel's book about the last mover advantage becomes really interesting.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It's not just about who gets there first. It's about who makes the last most significant leap, creating something so powerful that others struggle to catch up.
And that to be through technology, business strategy, or
Yeah.
some combination of the two.
Right. So when we think about the IPL, what does that make you think about in relation to the league's future?
I think it forces you to think about the long game. It's not just about winning matches today. It's about building a sports franchise with lasting power on a global scale.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like technology, things like streaming to reach massive audiences and maybe even virtual reality for immersive fan experiences are going to be absolutely vital for that kind of long-term growth.
I absolutely agree. I think technology is going to be key for the IPL to achieve its global ambitions. Being able to connect with fans across the world through various platforms is no longer a luxury. It's a necessity. And this idea of the last mover advantage in this context could be about who can best leverage these technologies to cultivate the most loyal and deeply engaged global fan base.
And it's not just about the IPL as a whole either.
Mhm.
Individual teams are also exploring technology to try and create unique ways to connect with their fans.
Oh, absolutely.
We saw a lot of that leading up to this 2025
Right.
season.
And what's really fascinating there is how each IPL team is essentially trying to establish its own kind of monopoly over fan attention and loyalty through these unique tech-driven experiences.
That's interesting.
Right. It could involve everything from really interactive team apps to exclusive behind-the-scenes content, personalized engagement strategies.
So they're trying to carve out their own niche within this larger ecosystem.
Exactly. And it's a trend we're seeing across the entire sports industry in 2025.
Yeah, it's really becoming the norm.
Absolutely.
That Gujarat Titans versus Punjab Kings match we talked about earlier really highlights this intersection of sports and technology.
In what way?
Well, just think about the sheer number of people in India who watched that match through platforms like YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
I read that it was something like 462 million people.
That's incredible.
That's a massive audience.
It really shows how technology is changing the way people consume sports.
Yeah, and that huge digital audience presents both a huge opportunity and a significant challenge for the IPL and its individual teams.
How so?
Well, the opportunity is obviously in reaching an unprecedented number of fans.
Yeah.
But the challenge lies in keeping them engaged and offering them something that goes beyond just a standard broadcast.
Right. So how do you think they can do that?
That's where the potential for things like Meta's VR experiences comes into play.
Oh, yeah. VR could be a game changer.
Even if it's still early days for large-scale VR integration in live sports, imagine a 25% increase in fan engagement through a truly immersive VR experience.
That would be huge.
I know I would definitely be more likely to watch a match in VR if it meant I could feel like I was actually there in the stadium.
I think a lot of people would agree with you there.
So going back to the book, how do you think businesses, not just in sports, but across all sectors, can apply these innovation principles from 0 to 1 within this evolving sports tech landscape?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is. There's a lot of potential there.
There is. We're talking about things like AI-powered analytics that could revolutionize coaching and team strategy.
And personalize the fan experience even further.
Absolutely.
But Thiel also warns against simply copying trends.
He does.
And I think that's really important to remember.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in the hype of the latest tech fad.
Right.
But to truly stand out, to create that 0 to 1 moment, you need to develop genuinely unique fan experiences, something that nobody else is providing.
Couldn't agree more. The key is to identify unmet needs and create entirely new ways for fans to connect with the sport, their teams, and each other.
And that's where the real lasting value is going to be found.
Exactly.
And this opportunity is huge. The sports tech market is estimated to be around $30 billion in 2025.
That's a staggering number.
And it just goes to show how important this intersection of sports and technology has become.
It's a dynamic and rapidly expanding field. And for businesses looking to succeed in this space, understanding those core principles of creating unique value, just as 0 to 1 lays out, is going to be absolutely critical.
So it's interesting that someone like Mark Zuckerberg is such a strong advocate for 0 to 1.
Right.
What resonates most with you about that connection?
I think it's the very clear alignment between Thiel's emphasis on truly innovative thinking and Zuckerberg's own approach at Meta. He's been very open about exploring new technological frontiers like VR for years.
I mean, it was even on his public reading list back in 2015.
Exactly. It shows that he's been thinking about these ideas for a long time. And you can see how his interest in creating immersive digital experiences directly ties into what's happening in sports tech today.
With the potential for VR to transform how fans experience events like IPL matches.
Absolutely. It's like the ideas in 0 to 1 are being put into practice in real time.
Which I think speaks to the enduring relevance of the book's central message.
I agree. It's not just some abstract business theory. It's about cultivating a mindset, a way of approaching problem solving and fostering innovation that has resonated with incredibly successful people like Mark Zuckerberg.
And you only have to look at the social media buzz around that Gujarat Titans versus Punjab Kings match to see the cultural impact the IPL is having.
Oh, for sure.
Thousands of people were sharing highlights and reactions on X, formerly Twitter.
Yeah, that just highlights the important role that technology plays in the overall IPL experience.
Yeah.
It's how fans connect, discuss, and participate in the narrative surrounding the league.
So let's bring it all back to that incredible IPL match on March 26, 2025.
Okay.
That unbelievable 244-run chase. It captivated a global audience. And 0 to 1 really provides a valuable framework for understanding the business innovation happening within the IPL.
It does. It offers a lens through which we can analyze not just the games themselves, but also the strategies teams use to engage fans and leverage technology in this competitive market.
Exactly. And for you listening, if you enjoyed our previous deep dives into cultural trends, like the Amazing Digital Circus in episode 28, or our discussion on financial literacy in episode 25, you can see how this conversation bridges those worlds.
Right. We're looking at a major cultural event, through the lens of technology and business strategy.
And what's particularly interesting is how the IPL and the broader landscape of sports tech are reshaping the entire entertainment industry.
Absolutely. A prime example is the dominance of platforms like YouTube for live sports streaming in India. Technology is democratizing access and changing consumer habits.
Let's imagine a scenario just to bring this to life.
Okay.
Picture an IPL team taking the principles of 0 to 1 and launching a completely unique VR fan experience, something that goes far beyond just watching the game.
Interesting.
Maybe it's interactive, personalized, or creates an entirely new layer of engagement. It would really reflect the focus on immersive technology we're seeing in 2025.
That would be incredible.
And when we consider the broader trends in sports, streaming, the continued dominance of platforms like YouTube in key markets like India reinforces the importance of understanding digital distribution and fan engagement for any sports league or team that wants to thrive.
It's essential for success in this new landscape.
So as you reflect on all of this, here's a final thought. Consider Peter Thiel's central principle, the power of creating something entirely new that leaps from 0 to 1. How could you apply that idea not just in the worlds of sports and technology, but also in your own personal life, your interests, your challenges? What might your 0 to 1 be?
That's a great question for everyone to consider.
Yeah.
I think it's a powerful idea that can be applied to so many different areas of our lives.
It really can. So thank you for joining me for this deep dive.
Thanks for having me. It was a great conversation.
Until next time.
See you then.